20 years ago, this table was $5,500.
$5,500. Oh my god. I mean, it's a nice table, but
That's all inlaid.
What's the loudest you're gonna talk? That's not loud.
Try to behave yourself.
If you're really excited.
Um,
Talking about Jim Zaner flying upside down.
well, we did a little of that.
who's Jim Zaner?
Jim Zaner?
Friend of mine, he was a crop duster
Okay.
They grew
Down
up
in-
together and they
down
are
in
trouble.
Texas.
Oh.
And he's got about 1,200 jumps.
Like skydiving jump?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I was watching some video the other day of some guy. He was talking about how he had thousands of skydive jumps, but he was trying to jump out of a hot air balloon, and the whoever was taking them up, the pilot was like, absolutely no way, you're gonna kill everyone on board if you do that. I don't know why, but he was very insistent though. He's like, I've done a lot of jumps, so I know. But I feel like if you've done a lot of jumps, I feel like you wouldn't treat your pilot like that. Where you're like you're better than them, you know? What do I know? I'm not a pilot.
Out of a basket?
Yeah, like a hot air balloon
I
basket.
suppose
Yeah.
it would tilt badly.
Yeah, maybe.
Especially if he was a good-sized guy.
And I mean, he was just like he was like a normal-sized adult man, you know? Yeah.
And dump the people out the other side. They
suppose-
probably
yeah.
wouldn't
But you
like
can
it.
get 3 or 4 or 5 people in a,
Right.
basket.
That's what I thought. It was like a big-sized hot air balloon, so I would have thought.
because I had one in my hangar for several years.
Did you fly a hot air balloon?
Uh-uh.
No, just had it just for
He
fun.
ju-
No,
he
I had
just
a-
stored it
Oh.
for
I
a friend.
had a
Oh.
I had a 170 Cessna
Okay.
plane for about 12 years.
I've had let's see, I'm trying to think of anything I've had for 12 years. I think I've had a pair of shoes, mate. No, not even that. That's incredible. That's what an interesting thing to have for so long.
I only made one jump, and that was, well, Jim, we were up in Alexandria, and he said, let's go, because he was already looking for a crop duster. He wanted to be at that time, he wanted to be a crop duster. So we went down to the cities and found Twin Eagles Skydiving Club on the other side of St. Paul, and I jumped off of a barrel about 4 or 5 times. That was my training. And
What more do you need? You gotta just jump. Yeah.
I climbed in, and they were flying a 170, went out the door on, and I was the first one out. So,
For your first time?
Yeah.
so
That seems like a bad idea.
it wasn't
Yeah,
so
you
bad.
don't have time to get scared.
I
that
stuck
way.
I suppose, yeah.
I stuck my feet out in the wind, and they went back, and I thought, oh, shit. You had to step down on because your wheels are up there. So I had to step down on the tire and then grab the wing support.
Yeah.
And so, well,
Yeah.
like, okay, put it out. Well, that wasn't so hard. And then pushed myself out, looked back up at the plane, and they opened to shoot right away because I only jumped out at 2,500 feet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then from then on, by the time before I got to the ground, I was pulling that thing and coming in circles and stopping. Just the old-fashioned shoots with a slit out of it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And trouble is, when I hit the ground, I didn't do it right, and I fell on top of my own ankle and broke it.
Oh no.
And
But you survived, obviously. So
I
I mean,
survived.
that's good.
And went to work.
And it went to work. What, like right after?
well,
With the
no, we
cast on.
went by
Okay.
our
Oh,
boss's office, told her I didn't think I was going to make it to work today because I sprained my ankle. Then we went to her place, as before we were married, and then her roommate was a nurse, and she said, we're taking you over
She
to...
took one look at his foot and said, to the hospital we go.
yeah, it's all the bones sticking out.
No, it wasn't
No.
sticking
She
out.
just knew.
Just yeah, nurse,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Yeah,
she-
yeah.
that's the
So we went
department she
to
worked.
North
Oh, sure.
Memorial Hospital, and then they couldn't cast it. This was on a Sunday, so they couldn't cast it because it was so swollen,
Oh.
because I walked on it.
Well, you had things to do, I guess, right? Yeah.
And
First
then
time.
they let me out on Wednesday, and they said, well, only if you go home and stay in bed and keep it elevated. I said, okay. It was on Wednesday. They casted it in the morning. I got out at her apartment, got on the phone,
Lined up
called
a
the
job.
shop. I was working for a shop in South Minneapolis,
Okay.
installing flooring.
Lined up a
And
job.
lined up a job out in Edina in a basement in a new house with patterns in it. So it was stuff, that the average installer would have trouble with, and just did it by the job. And then I called my brother, younger brother, and he came down that day. And Thursday morning we started the job. And Friday I finished, but then I came back to her apartment and I looked and, I was black and blue all the way up my leg. it got so tight that it's like, oh, I could have lost my leg.
Yeah, right.
He ended up in the bed, and
So I
my
stayed.
roommate was a nurse. She took one look at it, disappeared, and come back with bunches of ice
Oh.
cubes, and she packed him in well.
Well, so then I didn't.
Sit down.
Then I didn't do anything for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Then I got a walking cast on, and I went up north of Brainerd and did Formica countertops for 3 weeks up there.
Jan, give me this. Jan, give me that.
You can do it with a walking cast. No.
Yeah. Well,
That's one way to start.
yeah.
Well, we're with
So-
my parents.
Right, that's a good thing to know. This is episode 17 of the
My
Wussow's
dad,
podcast.
Roger Wussow. The reason I'm
eponymous
probably so
Wussow.
crazy, I think. And my mom, Jann, with 2 N's.
Yeah.
I should have known that when I was forging letters to get out of school because I kept only putting 1 N on it, and that's how I got caught.
And then he wanted to know why I did it. I said because there were umpteen Jans in my class.
Yeah. Well, and
You know.
how else are you supposed to catch your kid when he's trying to skip school?
Janet, Jane, all those people use Jan for a short.
Right. So yeah, you got to differentiate yourself. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was 2 Terrys in my house growing up because I'm a junior, and so yeah, it's one. I was no longer Terry then. I was then Junior exclusively.
Oh.
So yeah, sometimes you just have to change things up. So we're coming up on what 25
years this month.
years of the cafe. So I think that's a huge reason why we've forced you guys to sit down and do this with us. Is because we want to go back 25 years, reminisce about those early days at the cafe and all the whatever hijinks your son would have gotten up to at that
Well,
time.
let's see. He came home and wanted to know if we'd help him build something. And
you thought,
Roger,
"Oh, God."
without thinking, said, "Sure. What's up?"
Well,
He says, "I want a coffee house."
at first he says you want to build something and you think like a shelf or
Tree fort.
Actually, he
He had a building picked
he
out.
told me what he wanted to do and where it was, and I didn't have the area right, and I said, I don't know about that area. So come back a couple weeks later, right?
Yeah.
I said, how's it coming with your thing? Oh, you said it wasn't a good area. I said, well, let's maybe we
go
should go
look at
look,
Good idea.
So we drove over to where it was, and I said, oh, this ain't the area I was thinking. That's not too bad.
Not
So-
too bad.
And so what was your initial thoughts about this idea of him opening up a cafe? Because I mean, it's worked out now in hindsight, but I mean, that's a pretty big
Well,
idea.
that's what he wanted to do.
So,
And I
yeah.
thought, well, and then he wanted to use the little bit of college money we'd put away. And he'd only went to 1/4, so
Drop
I
out.
said, okay. So he used his college fund to start the coffee house.
That college fund, an equivalent though, would probably get you like 1 year today.
It would buy you a coffee machine.
yeah.
And your little sister was on your side.
Oh, that's
You
nice.
maybe didn't know it, but she kept saying, "Jason's not going to go back to school. He's dumb."
So not really on his side. So
Well, I think she was. I think she knew it wasn't the place for him.
yeah, she knew his limitations.
is.
Yeah,
She graduated as a teacher, but she's not
and
actually
she
a
knew.
teacher.
No way. No way. Not happening. I don't even think I totally even knew you had a sister. And I think this is actually the first I'm really hearing about this now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, she's married to Chris Eddy, who worked at the cafe for 13 years.
Oh.
And he's the one who did all the computer stuff, and that's why the security code is still headlock. Because when he left, it stayed the same.
Yeah. Well, it's a good enough Wi-Fi password.
It's good enough.
If you're curious, for those
Nobody
listening
knew
at
how
home.
to change it.
Not knowing how to change it is a good reason to keep it, I think. Yeah. And so, I know, Jason, you've mentioned to me before, I don't think we've mentioned on this podcast, but you and Roger, you had done all the stone tile, or not the stone, all the tiling around the back splashes of the kitchen and whatnot. And I guess I'm just kind of overall curious about that initial build out
the
process.
build out.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause I know-
we started with, I was married to Ann, and we're not married anymore. But at the time, her dad Warren was a interesting, fun carpenter guy.
Yeah, kind
Built
of.
his own house, and so between her dad and my dad, we built this thing. And sometimes there were sledgehammers being used, and sometimes there was.
Well, it was a photography place with photography rooms.
Oh, when we bought it, it was True Reflections Photography.
So what was the state of the inside at that point then? Like, was it like clean and nice?
Oh
then?
yeah,
I mean,
it was
that's what I'm
perfect. Yeah, it
imagining.
was
Okay.
like
But
it was,
you basically gutted it.
yeah, we
So,
took it.
right,
We just
yeah.
came in with sledgehammers and just
And
ripped all the electrical, all the plumbing, everything out.
Yeah, because I can't imagine any of that would be.
We pulled out all the walls, took off all the sheetrock, pulled all the nails, recycled all the lumber. Actually, one wall we cut with a sawzall or something and cut the nails off and moved one whole wall so we wouldn't have to wreck the sheetrock.
Well, and the floor had a major hump on the sides, and Jason had
It had kind of.
it cut out, about this wide on either side.
Like 3
There's
feet or so.
bluestone foundation in there, and it had settled over that literally and pushed the
Bluestone
floor up.
doesn't move.
So you couldn't have tiled it
Or-
with 12 by 12 tile over that hump. I mean,
Yeah, we did a lot of.
so
Wild stuff.
Jason sawed it. Actually, you sawed it all out.
That's true. And
And then we
self-leveling
leveled it
cement
with
and-
3/4 inch plywood, and then put down cement board into thin set and mud, and come from there.
So it was 3 of you in total, or how? Or...
Well, it was Ann's family and her
Oh, okay.
brother,
Oh, so there-
and then
okay.
and then me and my parents, and then my uncle came up. Dean came up and helped with the
Dean,
one
yeah.
wall.
Dean helped.
Dean-
He did
He
the
was a
kitchen
tile
wall.
setter too.
My brother.
Ann's cousin was a sheetrocker. He came and he had the stilts and he ran around and did the taping
Oh,
and
so
mudding.
yeah, so it ended up being it's a big team effort.
It was a family affair.
yeah.
If you notice the bar, all the coffee beans,
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of names in there, and Barry Percola drew that design, and we built that bar and poured the epoxy, and then we wrote names of a bunch of people that helped. So there's all these little names in the bar.
Little white writing on a bean.
So if you see Raj, that's my dad.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
Jen's my sister.
Now we know.
Yeah, there's all these names of people that helped.
Okay. Wow.
Well, Jan was still up in Alexandria. She just come up on weekends.
He would
Minivan
call
and
me
haul-
on Friday morning and say, and give me a list. Bring this.
Actually, my other uncle Dale, as a gift, gave us the facade, the bricks on the front, and he came up with a crew and a couple people and a.
And he had to tear it apart
Yeah,
because I looked at it when he was half done.
Uh-oh.
And said, wait a minute, that ain't the way you put these up. So you had to take them all down and start over and redo it. But
Little
It
brother
ended
didn't
up,
take
you know.
kindly
Yeah, it was-
to being told that by big brother.
So that was a fun thing, except for that part.
Well, yeah. Except for that one little thing, I'm sure it was all just easy riding, right? Yeah.
No one stepped on a nail, though, I don't think. If you don't step on a rusty nail, it's a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. I that's what I always say.
On a construction site. I did tap into an electrical outlet that was still when we were pulling out the electrical, and
That was
I did
still
get almost
live.
zapped off a ladder.
Oh. Off a ladder.
Yeah, it was.
It lit him
Someone
well,
wanted some power, so they flipped the
Not
breaker
quite,
on,
but
but it was the
it's-
one I was like, we
did
ripped out all the
startle
old
everybody.
electrical, and that one happened to still be live. But I'm still alive.
See, you've had these big mishaps or whatever you'd call them, and
for whatever reason, I tiled the 2 bathrooms first. Remember?
No,
because the
I
walls were
tiled
done.
both bathrooms,
the walls or the floor?
the floors.
Oh, the floor tile.
Yeah,
So then
because
you have to plan your
I
whole
think because
layout.
they wanted to do some plumbing and stuff in there. So I did the 2 bathrooms, laid it out, because there's some angles on things too.
The building was built before 1900, so there's no square thing. So if you're doing square tile, you have to fake it on every edge, and you have to start with something square in your brain and imagine the whole place being square from one spot. And he started with 2 bathrooms, and he had to connect the whole restaurant.
On the
from
other
2 bathrooms.
side, I started on the entry side, laying the tile then, after I had the 2 bathrooms in. I laid it out, and in my head, every other tile is different color, right? It's in a checkerboard
yeah.
pattern. So it's like, did I do this right or didn't I?
And you're gonna find
And did
out.
they line? Will they line up or won't they?
Yeah.
because I started
You
at
did
the
worry
door
about that.
and
I can
went
imagine.
all the way to the bathroom. And if you look at it now, they did. There was no cutting; they fit.
It's a lucky day.
Yeah, so oh,
But I was worried for a couple, 3 days there, setting the tile.
I like that time though, setting the tile and building the stage and
It was a 6-week project, 7 days a week.
was that the whole build out, or was that just
pretty
tile?
Whole
much
build-out.
yeah.
Okay, well that's a
We're,
long
we're
time,
a family that works
Without
well
hiring
together,
anyone.
but apparently, yeah,
and most of us know how to swing the hammer.
yeah. So that really got to help for quite a bit.
We did faster things. We built the cabin in the woods
In 4 days,
in 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
Please,
Well, let's see. Yeah, because we went up there on a Friday,
And
and
back on
Sunday
Monday.
night we were done,
And you came back on Monday.
and
It's still there.
it's still there.
Yeah, we made it open and I don't know. How did it end? Let's think. Almost everything we did except for the plumbing and the electrical, and so we weren't able to buy the building for 3 years. So when the plumber came, Butch's dad was a photographer, and the whole basement was full of photography stuff, like scenes like you'd pull down, like portrait.
sure, yeah.
So-
yeah.
The plumber came in and he's like, I can't work in this spot. Remember, he was going to quit.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to quit because
Mr. Krabby.
it was like so much stuff was in the basement. It was to the ceiling.
Oh,
And he was like trying to do plumbing, and there was stuff everywhere.
He had a
So,
right to
so
complain,
he almost
actually.
quit, and
Well, he was from Two Harbors.
well, that'll do it.
No, but he was a good plumber,
he was a good plumber.
commercial
Nice
plumber.
guy. And then his son lived above after that later on.
Yeah.
Oh, was the build out of the second floor involved in the build out of the restaurant, or was
Nope.
that was
The
all
first floor, the middle floor. There's basement floor, top floor. So this was just floor number 1.
and then all the rest of it? Oh yeah, because I knew the studio came
Because
later.
we,
Yeah,
we
I
had
knew
to
that.
lease it for 3 years, and then we could buy the building.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. He probably thought we weren't going to make
He
it,
thought
actually.
we
He's like,
weren't.
oh, we'll
Yeah.
fix it all up,
He
and then...
didn't
Yeah,
think
but
we'd make
I
it.
kind of
He
intervened,
said,
and
I don't know why you're letting the kid do this. It's not going to work.
Things are all just wasting
It'll work.
time.
I made sure that he had a 3-year lease with an option to buy.
Yeah, that was a lucky deal for me.
But I said, no, wait a minute.
We had our own
I-
business
I don't
already
trust
for many
people
years. We knew
In
what
general.
to do.
You do
So-
too.
Well,
You trust people. He
No,
does so
I
many
didn't.
handshake deals, and
yeah, but I didn't trust
But
him.
he knows
Okay,
he
that's a
didn't
different
trust
story.
this guy. He's got good instincts.
So I wanted a price firm in a 3-year period.
Mm-hmm.
If he puts all that money in it, it's it all in the coffee house, then he said, I want 100,000 more than I did before because it's worth that.
Right.
And maybe it is, but it wasn't his money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So. That's beyond my pay grade. I don't.
well, yeah, it's beyond a 19-year-old pay grade too. So
Oh yeah, which else is worth noting too. Yeah.
that's the reason
a
that
lot of
that's why
trust.
that place is still there, though. Is that kind of help and
Yeah. Right.
insight and support?
So wait, when was the actual opening date then?
July 26th.
July 26th. Oh, so okay, so we're ahead of schedule. That's good.
When we finally got open, well, it took a lot longer. We did all our stuff, and then we had to wait for all the licensing, right? And the health department and the fire department and all that. And we don't need to throw anyone under the bus, but that took a while.
I remember having grease around the drain and the plumber said, no, leave that. She wanted
Yeah.
to clean it. Said, they
I
got to
was
find
cleaning.
something.
He said, no,
They
no,
got to
no,
find
leave that."
something.
And I
They
said,
won't be happy unless they find something.
I said, why? It looks icky. He said, that's why, because they got to find something.
Like, for what reason?
Inspectors.
Just to
They
find.
were,
inspectors
they
gotta-
were the inspectors.
They wanted to find grease.
Well, they wanted to find, no, they wanted to find something they could put on their notes.
Oh. And if it was too clean, they would have been disappointed.
Well, you
Well-
wanted something that was, okay, we'll wipe this up. Okay, took care of your problem. Now what?
Oh, okay. Oh.
And that kind
so
of,
that it would prove they were there, I
I
think.
guess, yeah.
That
Otherwise,
was
maybe
that
they'll
was
lie,
weird.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Huh.
It confused me. I'd never had somebody tell me, don't clean it before.
And now here we are 25 years later still being confused. I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Well, we had our own business. I was having trouble. I couldn't tell my own people not to clean it.
and he's got a crazy expensive sanitizing wash. Well, it's not a washer.
We don't need to
man,
delve into
I
that
know.
one.
I don't work at the cafe, but I am aware of this dishwasher and all the issues that it's had. It's quite a
Bad history.
yeah.
We'll try to not. It's working. Let's not jinx it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you shouldn't have said that because what if it jinxes it now?
This is wood.
Is
I
this
think.
wood?
I hope so. It is. Yeah, it's all inlaid wood. That's why Dad got so crazy about this table. Someone like carved all these little things. It's all inlays. He went nuts for it because after you do carpet and tile and intricate designs, I think your mind starts thinking in this kind of
can
detail.
imagine.
It's like
It was on the top of a mountain on the Isle of Capri. That's where it was.
That's yeah.
That's where they made them.
Yeah. Where is that? Mountain of Capri?
Isle of Capri.
Isle of Capri?
That's an island. It's an
Got a
Italian
huge mountain, volcanic mountain right in the middle.
Italian island.
Wow. Italian island? Okay.
And he saw this table, and that was it.
No,
I mean, it's
and
a
then
gorgeous
the
table.
trouble is we had an hour because the bus went up the mountain and had to decide if you want it or don't want it. And when you're going to spend that kind of money on a table, it's like,
It was not cheap.
yeah, because
Let's put it this way: it's the very most expensive souvenir we ever brought back.
Well, that's
Adding all the rest together. But I have to admit, it's tough because that's how many years.
so I
yeah,
put it.
I mean,
So I put it on a credit card, and which was the thing to do because actually they called me right away. Said, did you spend this and that?
Surely not.
surely not.
But it came a couple of weeks later and all crated up really good.
Wow.
And
So
they,
it did.
people kept telling us it was the smartest thing we did, was that and we had proof for one thing that we bought it and paid for it there.
Oh, sure.
And I had never thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, with the credit card, I see. What
With the
you're saying.
credit
Yeah,
card, yeah.
verify. Yeah. 'Cause otherwise
It's not stolen.
I don't. You went to Italy and spent how much on a table?
Yeah, that is it. I remember when you guys bought this. I'm like, what?
Well, I came
In the
home in
world.
shock. I said, I can't believe I did that. And
couldn't
his
believe it
mom
either.
said, you can't believe you
have a-
did what? I said, bought that table and chairs. She said, why not? It's really pretty. And Roger was going to tell her what we paid, and I went,
Don't say anything.
And you have a carpet store. You don't even have new carpet or anything. It's like you live in $1,000 house, but you buy a $7,000 table. They bought their house for $1,000.
Seriously? That's impressive.
well, his
mean,
dad
different times,
wanted the
But I only
rest
got
of the
5.5
farm.
acres with it.
Boy.
His dad wanted that second farm real bad, and we were looking for a place. Now, you take in mind, though, that it had a stool downstairs and a sink in the kitchen. No shower, no
shower.
bathtub, no.
No. You're thinking of your folks.
Well, that too was just as bad.
Oh,
Where was there a shower? Oh, in the basement.
no, in the bathroom.
Yeah, we put it in.
No.
How old was that house?
The addition was built in 1897.
The addition.
The addition was built.
We have no idea how old it is, but it
Yeah.
was rock.
Oh, okay. So
It was rock foundation yet
Fieldstone, and it's chiseled in the fieldstone, so the date.
for the addition.
And then there weren't any other, I suppose.
It was a
just-
lovely old house.
Well, there was a barn and a granary and
And then a few acres, you said, right?
Well, his dad was a farmer.
I don't
He
know,
wanted
for
the
some
barn
reason
and
I
the
wanted-
granary and that,
5 acres. And so
but he didn't want
just-
another house,
Oh, sure. Right.
and he didn't want to play landlord. And we were looking for a place to live up in that area. We'd had enough of Minneapolis.
but we
wanted
rented
out.
it for a year or so, $25 a month.
Good Lord.
Well, no, on
let's
the
see- let's see if we
condition we gutted it and we fixed everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you had to put some work behind it.
I mean,
sounds
if the wind came right, whatever side it came from, the windows leaked. So if it started raining and the wind picked up, you went and grabbed the old bath towels and started,
like. Oh, sure.
So even going farther back before you bought your $1,000 house and got out of Minneapolis, you were in Minneapolis, or you were in Alexandria where we grew up, or Leaf Valley, I guess. And you were working, and then you moved to Minneapolis. Tell that story.
When I was in high school, they had a part-time training program.
You should still do that.
I had an ag class in like my first year, and then I had a shop class as well. And on my junior year, we built a house. And me and another guy built the cabinets for it. It was 3 hours a day. It was a 3 hour day class. And then I don't know how I got tied up into it, but the guy that started the Alec Tech College, he came to me and took me down to Inkster. Wow, I talked to him, and I don't remember how he connected with me, but I went and interviewed, and I went to work as a apprentice for Engstrom's Furniture in Alec, and installer took me on as an apprentice. So I worked an average of 30 hours a week in my senior year.
Oh, is that in addition to classes, or is that
Yeah.
just, okay?
Yeah, and I was getting 75 cents an hour.
That was big money.
That
in
was
those
good
days.
because everybody else was only getting 65 cents an hour.
Oh, so yeah, you're really making the big bucks.
But then after 3 years, I was getting $1.25 an hour. I thought, I went to Bud. I said, Bud, I want $1.50. He said, no, can't do it. I thought, oh, wait a minute. You're getting $1 a foot for tile. I can do a tile job in about a day and a half for 100 feet. That's $100. You're paying me about $20. Now, wait a minute, you can. And he said, nope, can't do it. So I packed up my tools, put them in the trunk of the car, and I drove to Minneapolis. I was a dummy when it comes. I didn't know anything about the Twin Cities, right? Got to Seven Corners. I knew I was in Minneapolis.
Was there a freeway even? There's no freeway.
No, Highway 55 came right into.
No,
Yeah, I
there
went
weren't
up Highway
freeways,
55.
Yeah. And so, how old are you at this point then when you're moving to Minneapolis?
I was 20.
20. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, moving from the country to the big city. And
yeah, yeah. I was 20.
acclimate to all that.
So I went to work for a place in North Minneapolis. Well, Sunday, I went to employment service. I thought, they can find it. But we don't know how to find a job for a floor layer. I said, okay. So I got on the phone Monday morning, and I think I must have looked in the yellow pages and found shops, and I went to work for Matthias and Peters. I don't even know where their shop was, but I met the guy. I met another installer that met me on the job, and we did eclipsing on the walls of plastic tile. You've probably never seen or heard of plastic tile. But there was a day when they made plastic tile. And he said,
Instead of ceramic.
I like working with you. I'll put in a good word for you. But they wouldn't tell me what they're going to pay me. So I talked to Midwest Floor Covering in South Minneapolis, and they told me what wage would be. It'd be like $3.72 an hour compared to $1.25.
Yeah, right.
That was a long time ago. So it was 1963.
Okay.
So I didn't even go back and collect my money from them. I just went to work for Midwest.
Yeah, right. At that point, yeah, you're making so much more. Right?
Well, no, I don't know. They might have paid me. That was a union shop. A week later, I seen the bosses. There was 3 bosses I had. They were out inspecting a job that I'd done, and came and said, "Go down to the union and tell them you got 4 years experience, because then you can join as a journeyman."
Oh, okay.
So I did, and they said, no, they can't do that. They got a guy on the bench. Well, he said, don't worry about it. But 3 weeks after that, I was a journeyman installer
There you go. So it all worked out. All right.
down in Minneapolis.
And did you guys meet on a blind date? Is that?
Yep, I had a
True story?
roommate that lined
Wanted
up
to
a
meet my
blind
friend,
date, and went to
Gordy and Terry.
find her, and I went to this house and didn't know who I was looking for. And there was a
I think life
girl
was
there, but she
simpler
looked
then.
awful young. And then she came out, and
I
then
don't suppose you're the first one,
we
huh?
went out. I don't know. We went out,
We had a good time.
had steak or something.
Yeah, your first steak that you liked, right?
Huh?
First
Isn't
date.
it like you didn't want steak because you grew up on a farm and Grandma always burnt it?
Yeah. Grandma always fried it in a pan, and it was tough. I didn't even like steak. I said, let's go someplace and have chicken. She said, "Oh." Then she talked me into making it a little more rare. And I thought, oh, this is kind of good.
Who knew?
Well, my folks weren't farmers, but they came from farms,
Yeah,
both
I
of
was
them.
gonna ask, where were you from? Are you from Minneapolis?
A little town called St. Martin.
Okay. And then when did you get to Minneapolis? And how did
Yeah,
that turn out?
mention that story. That's even just as good. when you went to school to be a hairdresser?
Well, yeah, I wanted to be a hairdresser, and
But
that
you-
was the closest school.
Oh,
But how
yeah.
but how old were you when you moved to Minneapolis?
Must have been 17.
17.
17 on your own?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
My dad didn't raise no chickens. He
apparently.
raised tough kids.
Yeah. That's yeah. There's no denying that. I don't think I'd want to move to Minneapolis by myself now.
But to be fair, no, my sister and her husband were down there. My sister was down there already
Yeah.
and had a steady boyfriend, so there was a help source available.
Yeah, which that's good. I mean, I can see why that would help, but I still think, wow, that's mighty impressive.
But you literally went to beauty school,
Yeah,
and then you were a beautician, doing perms and
and I did well
Yeah, good.
until I got to Alec, where everybody hired their daughters. Pretty much what it was. Yeah, I worked full time in the cities. I didn't have any trouble finding a job there. Got to Alec though, and well, no, I have so, and so. And the names all sounded like they fit together. And I said, and they are, one of them your daughter? Oh, they're all my daughter.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, I'm not going to find a job doing this. So I
love
took
this. That was a new
online bookkeeping. Well, yeah, bookkeeping class.
yeah, and interior decorating.
Did that online too.
Yeah, not online. Mail. There's
No,
way
by the
before
mail.
online.
We didn't have online. And
No,
so, but yeah, she did Chicago School of Interior Design.
Mail order,
Mail order.
mail order.
like the
I
original
call
online
that being
class.
online.
I'd never even heard of mail order classes.
No, me
That's
neither.
interesting.
This is the only time ever.
No, so at what
Okay, I
point,
call it being online, and that's what they're arguing about.
it's close enough.
It was-
At what point did you all end up this way then? Because even Jason, you're
He's here, so's
Yeah.
our daughter.
right, and so were you here first and then you guys followed, or
So when I graduated high school, all my bandmates that I was playing with were up here, and I just wanted to be up here. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to college and go to jazz at UMD, and then I wanted a place where I could be loud and not get kicked out, and that's how I ended up living in the place I still live in, because there's this house. We were looking at houses for like 20 to 50,000, and some of them were total.
Oh, we were looking for a place. Well, originally we were
The
going to.
cheapest place that I wouldn't get kicked out of, pretty much.
Yeah, that pretty well covers
Well,
it.
okay. We
Because when they got to
we
work,
lined up.
they rocked.
We lined up realtors to show us.
Well, because we were looking at rents, and when you look at rents, rent was so.
God awful.
When I bought my house and these guys helped me do it, it was only $300 a month, and there was 9 roommates, so everyone just paid $100 a month.
Oh.
And it was like, we all had to sleep in bunk beds, but
yeah, there's only 9 of you.
but,
We drove up and down streets.
yeah, looking for signs.
We run across that one because 2 realtors bailed on us. We drove up and down. I think Jason got sick.
Maybe
Somebody got sick.
curvy streets.
Well then.
Ran across that one, and the gal came right in, and we looked at it, and we came back following.
We couldn't have bought it.
I don't remember all the details, but it happened pretty quick, and
We bought it, and the guy that had it, he bought it for his daughter to go to school, and she didn't go to school.
She met somebody.
Well, only for a year or something, and then when we bought it, he had to pay me. I got paid to buy his house because he still owed some money for utility,
Oh, okay.
and he'd borrowed all the money to buy the house. So it was,
That's a good deal.
He took over the debt, so then the guy owed him money.
Yeah.
it's a weird tale.
I wrote him out a check, and we had the house.
So then the whole band moved in, and then that's when we toured until I opened the cafe.
So he got that house, and Jen graduated, 2 years later?
Well, and then Jen moved up here like a few years later, and then she went to school up here. That's how we ended up in Duluth, though. I mean, I moved
Now
up
the
here,
whole
and
family's
these
up
guys helped me get a house, and the whole band moved in. And then my sister moved up here, and then these guys were like, oh, the kids are in Duluth, and then they found this place, and then they sold all their other stuff and just moved up here.
That worked out,
Yeah.
I think, too, right? What do you think now that you? I mean, so
Well, we
was
didn't
that-
move up here right
Not
away.
right away.
Well,
How long has it been?
we had 2 stores in Alec to dispose of
Oh, so
first,
yeah,
To dispose of.
yeah. Throw this away.
preferably with a profit.
Yeah,
You know,
preferably.
Dispose.
Yeah. So yeah, what year was it when you moved up at this point?
About 7 years ago.
Oh, is it that recently?
Yeah, it's recent.
Oh wow, that's.
I mean, we've had this house for almost 25 years.
But you made the full move pretty recently.
well, first,
took a lot to
first
unravel.
Jason lived in it, and then I think Jen
In what?
in here.
Oh,
No,
they did for a while, but Jen and
Becky lived here too.
I didn't live here, but had some company parties here.
Well, I call that part of living.
Yeah.
I have to admit they cleaned up pretty good.
Jeepers.
like the Bears, huh?
Like the Bears?
Well, before we remodeled this and stuff.
Who was it that
Becky and Jen. She was
the
looking out
bears
the window.
outside.
Said, "Oh, what a cute little bear!" And Jen was looking out of the dining room window. Said, "Don't look so little to me."
She was
There
looking
was
at Mama.
Bear and a cub.
Becky
with
was
her.
looking at a pair of cubs.
My sister had a hyperspasm.
Yeah, Mama there, short circuit.
You got to call somebody to have them move the bears. And
Move the bear.
Sandy, yeah.
Excuse me.
the bears live here. We're just visiting.
Exactly.
That's their house back there, and she just freaked.
Well,
Yeah.
these guys are used to living in the country because, I mean, Dad grew up, my grandpa.
So
they-
did
they grew-
Sandy.
Well, yeah, I guess she did too, but she went to the cities for too long. You ran away from the cities, went back to the country, but I mean, Dad grew up farming with horses and having an outhouse and really old school living. And then
Yeah.
like we had fireplaces and we chopped wood growing up, and Mom had a giant garden. I mean, it's randomly really good help at the cafe because we grew up gardening and
He knows what fresh food is.
Right. Which I can say goes a long way.
yeah,
actually.
and
Yeah.
we butchered, and we had this German family thing where everyone would shoot a deer, and we'd go to Grandma's house and have a cow and some pigs, right? Am I right? And we'd make sausage and dirt floor smokehouse, and Grandma would season the meat and taste it raw, right?
Yeah, that I
Needs a
couldn't-
little
that
more
I
of this.
could not learn.
No, she'd
You don't
fry
eat raw meat?
she'd fry little
I couldn't
samplers.
eat it.
But I'd see her taste it just
Oh,
raw.
She did. She did it all the time.
She did a really good job of that. They made
She tried to teach me to do it, and all it did was
they
make
made
me
ringer
gay.
sausage and blood sausage and potato sausage.
What was the sausage with the big cow head stirring in the pot? What was that for?
Probably for blood sausage.
I never liked blood sausage very much. Or Schwarzsauer.
I liked Schwarzsauer.
Schwarzsauer, that's like a fruit soup with duck
Especially
blood.
growing
It's
up,
got
our
duck blood
kids
in
had,
it.
huh?
Yeah. That's
Not a lot of duck blood.
Well,
got about a pint of blood.
Your folks are German, and so are my folks, and yet the meals coming from the 2 houses about as different as the 2 grandmas, the way they cook. Not Jason?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
was it German food or is it just German people?
Well, if creaming everything from peas to corn, right? You love cream peas.
Oh yeah, they're good on
mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
If that's not German, I don't know, but that's the German I grew up with.
His mother was closer than my mother. My mother was forever trying to keep Dad's weight in line so the doctor wouldn't scream at him every checkup. So you didn't get cream peas and cream potatoes that often at her house.
It's too much on the old ticker. Yeah.
Grandma was a little round, actually.
Not that bad.
Not too bad. But she did have some big...
My grandma.
Your grandma, I'm talking.
my
Grandma
grandma.
Rausch was not...
No.
Grandma Wussow was...
Yeah, but you don't remember my grandma.
Oh, no, I don't.
She was about as round as she was tall.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I loved growing up in the country. I loved we'd get to pick our own veggies, and we'd go get the seeds and we'd grow them. And I want to grow yellow watermelon or we always had lots of rhubarb, and we'd just go cut rhubarb and dip it in sugar and just eat that. That would be our snack. Or we'd have all the peas, and I know I was bad when I was little. I'd just go eat the peas out of the pods and leave them on the vine.
Yeah, he did. I got a little
And
annoyed
wild
with him
grapes.
about that.
And wild grapes.
We go with
Picking
his-
wild grapes in the Jeep.
You could fold the windshield down. So you go back, and then they'd be up in the trees and on the fence lines. And we'd pick
See
a
that
lot
much
of
anymore.
wild grapes, and then Mom would make grape jelly
And choke cherries.
and choke cherries. Yeah.
And ground cherries, which no one knows ground cherries. Ground cherry jam is my favorite.
Getting a nod from the audience.
Well,
Yeah.
here's somebody that knows what it is because she's done it.
My
I have no
favorite.
idea.
Here's a random cut. Remember when my cat had babies in my bed?
I remember.
Yeah.
That sounds traumatizing.
Not for me.
No?
No way.
Jason was only about that big, though.
Oh, so you had a great time with him then.
Oh, yeah.
And
Mom wasn't too happy. Scared me half to death. Middle of the night, he woke up, hit the wet spot, but 2 a.m, I'd say, and he comes screaming into our bedroom. And I thought, oh God, something happened to Jen.
the
Was
middle
my
of his
first
bed
thought,
was
'cause she's 2
all
years
these
younger.
kittens
He
and
was like 5.
a mess.
A kitten's in a mess.
To say the
That
least.
is an understatement.
Yeah.
So I scrubbed him up, put him in bed with him, and stripped his bed down to nothing. And
How did the cats do? Was it the
cats did fine.
Yeah. Good.
They had a good mommy.
Good. Good.
So that's
And I
one.
don't mean me. Good
No,
mommy
no.
cat.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
hissed at me every time I touched him.
So that's one fun story, and then one other fun memory I just wanted to have you talk about is the thing I loved is when you guys made the old Volkswagen cars into Rug Bug and Ladybug, and the commercial you made. I wish I could get a copy of that.
Yeah, that'd be great to watch.
Do you know about this at all?
No.
Well, that was all
What year Volkswagen was that?
When they were still
60.
built
I don't
like
A
that.
know.
rounder.
Yeah.
The old Bug, with the round headlights.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So we carpeted, carpet the whole outside
Oh.
with,
We were a carpet store.
Oh.
and well, first we had a ladybug.
No, first was the Rug Bug.
No, first was a ladybug.
Really?
Yeah, it needed a partner. So then we built the rug bug.
I'm mixed up. I never knew. Ladybug was first. So Ladybug looked like, like a ladybug. It had like the orangish red carpet with black spots.
That's one way to get rid of
And
that.
carpet that was like glued onto the headlights like eyelashes.
Oh my God.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah. But we made a TV ad out of them. And they took it. I wasn't even with them. They took them to Lake Carlos or whatever. And they made the commercial over there. And they had them showing, peeking around a tree. And then they showed them coming up to each other. And how in the hell they didn't do it? Yeah. I didn't know how they did. They just parked them there and then backed up real fast.
That's a,
But also when they drove really fast together, they the Volkswagen Bugs, the motors in the back, so the front is the
Oh, they talked to each other.
yeah. So then they had
Oh.
like friends and made the cars talk like, "What are you doing?" And the other one would go, "I'm going to Alexandria Carpet One," and they we're having this conversation about great carpet deals, and then they backed up really fast and zipped away super fast, like they reversed the film and then
Yeah, I don't know
sped
how
it
they
up.
put-
And it so they made it. It was so cool.
But and then we ran those TV ads then. Then we run them in parades.
Yep. Then there were famous cars.
oh.
And you could hear the kids because they could see them. They seen them on TV because you could buy primetime TV.
There's only one channel where we grew
Channel
up.
7, and so you could primetime spots were $18.
Oh wow. That's a great deal.
The best part, they had no other channel.
Right? Yeah. I would have thought it would have been a little more, just because it's such an
They
exclusive.
had no
spot.
other channel. So all the kids were as far as they
So me,
reached.
me and Jen got it in the back of each one, or whatever, and we got to throw candy.
And when you were going down the parades, because parades would call us and ask us to come up there.
It was fun.
Yeah. And you could hear the kids roaring before we got to them. Because they're for real.
Oh my God.
Here they come. Because they'd seen them on TV.
The carpet bugs.
Their dreams came true.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the best day of their lives.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
How did they do like long term? Because with like weather and things, you know. I mean, I'm sure you didn't take them out in the rain or anything, but
They got wet sometimes, but we tried to
They would
avoid the
get-
rain.
yeah.
They were direct glued on there,
And
mostly
and
contact cement.
Wow.
So they were glued
They
on
were
there.
glued. Washing them's another story.
That's yeah.
Got to bring them to a salon.
Where did you take them? You did have a
It's- I don't
think
know.
we ever cleaned
We-
them. I think it just rained on them.
Yeah, but we did it for 1 or 2 years.
And we lived on a gravel road.
Yeah,
Which I'm sure was really good for them.
we probably left them at the store. I don't remember.
Probably.
But we got tired of going to.
Oh, we got
Parades.
asked to go
Yeah.
see
We
somebody.
could have the parades from every town. We could have been at a parade every single weekend all summer long. After a while, that gets old.
I can imagine. Yeah, I don't like parades very much. I wouldn't want to. Yeah.
No.
So when we quit, we just quit.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I never wanted to be in the parade. It's like, you guys should have a band and a giant coffee bean. I'm like, I think I did a lot of parades. I don't know.
I seem to have this memory. It's a bug and a carpet, so surely they're not related.
One other random thing I love is your story of the first calculator.
Oh, when we went up to, well, we'd go bowling up in Evansville. They had a calculator.
Like the size of like an iPad almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretty good
no
size.
printer on it, or nothing.
Just to add numbers, nothing else.
Yeah, but what you could do is you could quickly figure out your selling price and know what your margin was.
Or square footage.
Otherwise, you'd have to do it
Well, pen and paper,
the
right?
hard way.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so, and that was, I seen that. I had to have one.
That's an understatement.
That's what you're waiting for.
That's what I'm going. And then what do you have on your watch hand today?
Just looks like it's a little calculator. Oh my god.
Then there was a calculator watch. And then never ever has there not been a calculator watch on that wrist that I can remember, except for the time you left it in your shoe at the hospital.
Well, that's different. That's
And then you were looking for your watch and you were wondering why your foot hurt. And then you were like, oh, my watch is in my shoe.
Yeah, I wore this only kind of watch.
They quit making it.
We'd go on- we'd go-
nuts when
Yeah.
his dies.
We would go when I was little. Calculators were old news by the time I was little, but he had one I was watching. We'd go to people's houses and he'd measure their house real fast. He'd draw it on a little notepad, their whole house, and then he'd go pew 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 pew. It'll be about this much dollars, and he would just make up this estimate like on a pocket calculator and a notepad. For like whole houses, like I'll carpet your whole house, tile this, do this, we'll transition here. It's a pattern match, so there's gonna be some waste, blah 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 blah. Yeah, $2,000. Whatever it is, whatever the number is, it's like, wow. I don't think anyone else has ever done that. So
I don't think so. But also, like,
There's a lot smarter people than me.
it sounds like you know carpet though, like it's nobody's business. 'Cause yours.
I did it for a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it. Yeah. Well, unless there's anything else you want to bring up, I think
that's a
Yeah.
lot. That's
I think
gonna
it's
be
good. Thank you
super
guys so
fun.
much for sitting down and talking with us. It was a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
Gotta thank Terry for making this happen. The Wussow's podcast.
New episodes first Tuesday of every month, along with other things brought to you by Stuck on the Internet, my new company, quote unquote.
Stuck on the internet.
Yep, we make other podcasts. This is one of them.
Yep, it's epoxied on.
Yeah, that's kind of. I've had to convince them of that. They're like, Wussow? Like, it's a local thing, and they've come to really enjoy it actually.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, there we go.
Doesn't suck.